On to our next story. And 4 years ago, one of Ghana's worst school disasters struck in the central region when a falling classroom actually caved in on 6 kindergarten children, killing them instantly and injuring many others. Children in the Roman Catholic school just meters away say they have been living in fear as they say their own classrooms are in a worse condition than the one that killed the 6. This week, JoyNews is launching the Classroom Project to highlight the need for self-help in addressing school infrastructure challenges across the country. My colleague Justice Baidu, who reported on the accident when it occurred in 2017, has been back in that community to see what exactly has changed. Here he is with this report.
This is Breman Jamra's ground zero. It was here 4 years ago that 6 children crashed to their death in a building collapse that shook the nation. Today, some of the children who survived that accident play in the leftover rubble. JoyNews' coverage of the disaster moved non-governmental organizations to build the structure which now houses some of the children. That aside, not much has changed. This is the Jamra Roman Catholic School. It's only a few meters away from the Methodist school that collapsed. The scenes here are way too familiar.
The building, sometimes when someone just hits his hands on the wall, you see that the wall is shaking. And someone will say, hey, it's going to collapse, so it's coming to... Then you try to get out of the class. Someone will come and tell you that I dreamt that the school has collapsed. So when you are sitting there, you say, hey, I don't want to sit near the corner. I don't, this one dreamt this, so.
There are cracks on the wall. That's made us think that our building is a death trap. And when the wind flows, the building shakes. And we thought it is going to break. And there's darkness in the room. When it is 10 o'clock going, the dark comes to our class because there was no windows in the class and the heat. When the teacher is teaching, we have to use book to fan ourselves. Due to that, we cannot be concentrated.
She leaned out of the window.
The school was put up largely by community members of Jamra. It is now run by the government and yet has seen very little infrastructure development. Much of the walls have open cracks and fallen roofs. Last year, villagers here worried it may come crashing down, pull down 2 classrooms, moving students to already congested spaces.
This is the 4th public school in this community. This one here alone has close to 600 students. While so much has been done in the other schools to bring up infrastructure to match up the numbers, so much more remains undone in many of the other schools. This leaves many children like the vulnerable ones in here today studying at the peril of their lives.
In the heart of the town, I have come to meet Nana Kwesi Enin III. He is the Krontihini of this small town.
Years ago, everybody expected the government to do everything. Now, the demand on the government has increased. The years ago expectation cannot work now. The community is willing and ready to, as it were, provide communal labor to support any NGO, any philanthropist, any institution that will want to come and rebuild the school building for us.
The warning bells from February 17, 2017, when that school accident happened here, rings loud in the minds of these children. It looks like it's only a matter of when, and not if, that they too would see their own classroom block come tumbling down. Justice Baidu, JoyNews, Breman Jamra in the Central Region.
My colleague Justice Baidu there. Now joining us live for further conversation on this project is the Programs Manager at Star Ghana Foundation, Eunice Agbenyedzi, who are our partners on this project. Eunice, good morning. Now the Classroom Project is under the Giving for Change project. Can you tell us about Giving for Change and how the classroom project fits into it. Hello, Eunice. So we shall try to get interactive with Eunice and get the take of her foundation, the Star Ghana Foundation, on this specific project as they seek to aid, erect these classrooms once more so that the children can actually be saved from any unfortunate incidents. Eunice, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation. So like I was saying earlier, this project, the classroom project, is actually part of this initiative that you have started. How exactly does it feed into the Star Ghana Foundation initiative?
Thank you very much for having me. And good morning to your viewers. And we've started under a project we call the Giving for Change project. And the Giving for Change project is based on the principle that we need a vibrant civil society, we need a free press that enables citizens to come together and contribute.
Well, it appears we're struggling with a connection with Eunice. We shall see whether we can get her on phone for later, but still on schools. Inadequate furniture and dilapidated school buildings are what greets you when you enter most schools in the Wa East district of the Upper West region. Many of the pupils sit and write on the rough, dusty, bare floor, while the few lucky ones who have dual desks have more than the number required sit on them. JoyNews Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam, who visited the Qatar and Bayire primary schools, reports that the situation in the schools paints a mental picture of how widespread the issue of inadequate furniture is affecting teaching and learning in the Wa East district.
All basic schools in the Wa East district of the Upper West region are challenged with the issue of inadequate furniture in their various schools. The pupils sit on the bare floor. The few lucky ones who have dual decks have more than the required number of pupils sitting on them. Some of them sit while using their hands to support the furniture. Teaching at Qatar and Bayre primary schools in the districts are frightening and terrible as pupils sit on the bare floor and others lying prostrate to write and learn. This is Qatar DA Primary School with a total population pegged around 222. The school building is in deplorable state as it has never seen any form of renovation since its establishment. Inside this building, the floor cement is worn out and the pupils sit on the rough, dirty concrete floor to learn. Due to the deplorable nature of the school, the staff common room is now a death trap. As a result, the staff have no option than to sit under trees. All pupils we interacted with have one statement, which is unison.
My name is Rebecca. I am class 3. We don't have furniture to sit. My name is Elizabeth. I am class 3. We don't have furniture to sit.
The PTA chairman of Qatar Primary School, Adam Diatekeleu, lamented how bad they feel when they come to see their children sitting on the bare floor to learn.
You can see how the place is. And this is how the children manage to learn. We all know about, as you say, social distancing. You can see that if one child have COVID here, it will spread to all the children.
The situation is no different at Bayre Primary School, as we met the teachers sitting under trees and the pupils squatted, bent on their books to write using the bare floor as their table. Some parts of the school building have gaping holes, and as a result of that, some of the doors are detached from the walls. Simply put, it is more of a death trap than a structure for learning. The only thing these pupils could utter and ask for as givers furniture to learn. The lack of furniture at the school, according to a member of the Bayer Primary School Management Committee, Dauda Idrisu, has contributed largely to many of the pupils absenting themselves from the school, which goes on to affect the school's enrollment.
Okay, as you can see, look at the time you people arrive here. Now you realize that all our children, they have run back to the house. Due to what? Because we see when the child dressed night from the house, coming to the school, realize that there's no any chair for the person to sit down. The person feel like going back to the house, doing other things than to come and waste his time and sit here. So, and we are thinking that like we have these furnitures and other things, it will help a lot, and then that even encourages students to come to school.
The situation at the two schools paints a mental picture of how widespread pupils in the West East District struggles, lying on the rough, dirty, bare floor in search of education.
2021 budget, we have factored in procurement of furniture. I think we have allocated something for the procurement of furniture to the schools. I know the problem cannot be solved at a go because actually we have run short of furniture in the schools. But as we continue to be producing and supplying to the schools, with time, I think the schools will all be okay with the furniture, and then all the children will.
And we reconnect with Eunice from the Star Ghana Foundation. Now they are aiding the classroom project. So Eunice, the question I was posing to you earlier, can you tell us about the Giving for Change program and how the classroom project fits into it?
So the Giving for Change project is a global initiative that is implemented across 3 continents and 8 countries. And Ghana is one of the countries, and Star Ghana Foundation is the anchor institution. Basically, the Giving for Change project seeks to strengthen civic space through promoting domestic resources mobilization. And it is anchored on the principle that in every community there are resources. There are people, there are ideas, and there are also other forms of resources, for example, money. And so the idea about Giving for Change is to support communities to harness all the assets, all the resources they have in, responding to any challenge that they have.
So we've seen how, especially in the central region, that case we're speaking of where the classroom building caved in on 6 people, community members are willing to actually lend their labor. But in the end, what do we seek to achieve with this project, and how soon are you hoping to roll out?
The project has begun rolling out, and multimedia is one of our partners. We are working with other partners in other regions of Ghana. Basically, we want to increase awareness among communities, among citizens on philanthropy, giving for social change. And the communities we come from, we live in those communities. And we as, citizens have some kind of responsibility towards, mobilizing ourselves, mobilizing our resources to meet immediate needs of the community. When we speak about local giving or local philanthropy, we are confronted with the challenge of so where lies government's role in this situation, because government has, or the state has, a social contract with its citizens, and our simple response is that we are collaborators in development. The state or the government has its role. Citizens also have their roles to play, and so giving to support community needs or support the needs of groups does not take away the responsibility of government towards its citizens. So that's basically the idea. We want to be able, through the initiative, raise resources from philanthropies, and philanthropies can be outside of the communities, people who are interested, who are committed to see social justice, but also community members, the people who dwell in the communities, coming together, either offering their labor. For example, in the classroom project, there's an idea of creating space for communities to offer their labor, to offer their skills, while others also come in with their funds to meet the needs of young learners or students through the rehabilitation of classrooms. So basically, we want to raise funds domestically. We want to organize people to become active participants or active citizens in any development process in their communities, in our nation.
Eunice, very briefly, what difference will the classroom project make in addressing the infrastructural challenges in the target schools?
I think that it will create a safe school environment, in the sense that the infrastructure does not pose a threat to life of the learners. So once there's a safe learning environment, automatically it will improve, access. So learners will be willing to come to school. Teachers who are teaching would also will feel comfortable. Their lives will not be at risk or under any threat. So the safe school environment has some bearing on access to education, as well as quality of learning, because the learners will be in the classroom in a conducive environment to receive any teaching that would come. But overall, in the community, a school and the access to education means that adequate human resource is produced to benefit the community and to benefit the region and our nation at large.
Well, Eunice, thank you very much. Eunice is with the Star Ghana Foundation.